never loved you, Walter, not you or anybody else. I'm rotten to the heart. I used you just as you said.
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for classic film antagonists who karma came back to bite. For the purposes of this list, we're only considering movies made before 1970. Also, spoilers are ahead.
I'll get you, my pretty, and your little dog too.
Number 10, Hjalmar Polsik, The Black Cat. This 1934 Universal horror classic ran into so much trouble with the censors that it's a wonder it ever got seen. Scenes like the one featuring Boris Karloff's occultist architect, Hjalmar Polsik, walking past his murdered wife's preserved bodies in display cases, were somehow allowed to stay in the movie.
You see, Beatrice, I have cared for her tenderly and well.
Without them, we might not understand just how much he deserves his comeuppance. And boy does he get one.
The phone is dead. Even the phone is dead.
Polsik has betrayed a fellow soldier, played by Bela Lugosi, and stolen, married and murdered both his old friend's wife and his daughter.
Did you ever see an animal skin, Hjalmar? That's what I'm going to do to you now.
For his crimes, Lugosi's character actually skins Polsik alive at the movie's climax. Though it's all suggested and done in stylish silhouette, it's still one of classic movies' most brutal scenes. Number 9, The Queen, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Who is the fairest one of all?
Having disguised herself as an old warty woman, the evil queen, who is also both a witch and Snow White's stepmother, poisons Disney's first princess with a deadly apple.
A perfect disguise.
The dwarfs pursue her through the woods and to a cliff, where she falls. For good measure, a stray boulder falls down and crushes her. Seeing that she spent the entire movie trying to kill her daughter because she's pretty, it's probably fitting that not only is she killed herself, but she also dies looking like an old hag. Knowing her, the latter point would probably bother her more. Number 8, Tom Powers, The Public Enemy. It's safe to say that most gangster movies owe a debt to this William A. Wellman classic. While entertaining audiences with all sorts of immoral and illicit behaviour, it also stresses the dangers and inevitable consequences of such a life.
It'll hold 6. Oh, this'll be enough. Stick 'em up.
The Public Enemy refers to Tom Powers, an Irish American who rises through the ranks to become a top bootlegger in Chicago. After numerous crimes, betrayals, and violent acts, Powers is shot by enemies and delivered to his own loving mother's doorstep, apparently recovered from his wounds. That is, until it's revealed his corpse has been propped against the door and he falls to the floor dead. It's a finger-wagging but haunting reminder to Depression-era audiences that crime may bring fortune, but it doesn't pay. Number 7, Lena Lamont, Singing in the Rain. With her grating voice and gracelessness, Lena Lamont is the kind of villain you love to hate.
Well, I can't make love to a bush.
She seems to delight in being a petulant child, screeching and stamping her feet. The silent movie star is, unfortunately, better in pantomime. The advent of sound films jeopardizes her career, and the studio employs Debbie Reynolds' character, Kathy Selden, to dub her.
What are you going to sing, Miss Lamont?
Singing in the rain.
Singing in the rain.
When the characters she's terrorized throughout the movie reveal the ruse in front of a live audience, her humiliation is pretty well earned. Needless to say, her career as a shimmering, glowing star in the cinema firmament is kaput. We may hate Lena Lamont, but actress Jean Hagen gave us one of the great villains of classic film. Number 6, Senator and Mrs Iseland, The Manchurian Candidate. This paranoid Red Scare thriller finds a power-hungry senator's wife, played by Angela Lansbury, manoeuvring to have her husband's rival assassinated.
To sweep us up into the White House with powers that will make martial law seem like anarchy.
The assassin turns out to be her son, a prisoner of war, brainwashed by the enemy. This cat-and-mouse game is thrilling and deeply disturbing. Lansbury's character is probably the most villainous one she's ever played.
I told them to build me an assassin. I wanted a killer.
What she's willing to sacrifice for political clout makes her karmic payback so satisfying. In the film's climax, her son breaks from his brainwashing and instead of completing the job and sniping the intended target, trains his gun on his corrupt mother and her husband. Number 5. The Wicked Witch of the West, The Wizard of Oz. Children all over the world never knew hatred until they saw The Wicked Witch of the West. The woman did nothing but terrorise a nice little girl in gingham print and her dog over a pair of shoes.
I'll get you, my pretty, and your little dog, too.
Sure, they did kill her sister, but that was an accident. And for such a sweet little girl, Dorothy Gale really has killed more people than the average person. Granted, they were all accidents. At least, that's what she told the judge.
How about a little fire, Scarecrow?
Still, a bucket of water to the face was never more deserved. Who knew this one would prove deadly? You'd think if you were that allergic to water, you wouldn't keep random buckets of it around your castle.
Look what you've done! I'm melting! Melting!
Number 4. Captain Quinnland, Touch of Evil. Director Orson Welles also plays the villain in this masterful film noir about corruption, murder, and bigotry on the US-Mexico border. Hank Quinnland is a boozy and brutish police captain with a profound hatred for Mexican people. Fighting accusations of misconduct, he is finally brought to justice in a stakeout.
Come on, read my future for me.
You haven't got any.
In the climactic scene, Quinnland and his once good friend and colleague on the police force shoot each other down.
You're a killer, Hank. Fine, man. I'm a cop.
Quinnland dies clumsily, and with his entire storied career in disgrace, it's a harsh, painful, and pitiful end for a man who truly deserved it. Number 3. Vida Pierce, Mildred Pierce. Throughout this 1945 classic, Mildred Pierce takes any job she can to provide for her spoiled and pretentious daughter, Vida. But this doesn't endear her to her daughter. If anything, it makes Vida resent her even more.
He never loved you, it's always been me.
The audience has had more than enough by the time Vida manipulates her mother into taking the fall for a murder she committed.
You've got to help me. Give me money to get away, and time.
After 2 entertaining but frustrating hours of watching Mildred sacrifice her own happiness for a daughter who doesn't deserve it, we finally get a break. Vida is found out and dragged away by cops to live a less than luxurious life in a prison cell.
Darling, I'm sorry. I did the best I could.
Don't worry about me, Mother. I'll get by.
Number 2. Phyllis Dixon, Double Indemnity. Barbara Stanwyck's deceptive blonde became the very image of the film noir femme fatale. Seductive, smouldering, and deadly, Phyllis Dixon is never on the up and up.
We're both rotten.
Only you're a little more rotten. You got me to take care of your husband for you.
She manipulates men into doing her bidding like she's winding up mechanical soldiers. When her deceit captures up to her in her lover's arms, it's hard to tell if even her last words are believable. It's the only time in the movie you can see any trace of sincerity in her eyes, but it's too late.
No, I never loved you, Walter, not you or anybody else. I'm rotten to the heart. I used you just as you said.
Walter Neff, the gullible insurance agent she got to kill her husband, doesn't care. She's just shot him, and despite saying she loves him, she'd undoubtedly have tried again, if Neff hadn't shot her.
Goodbye, baby.
Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few honourable mentions. Dr. Pretorius, the Bride of Frankenstein. The cruel and manipulative scientist is blown to bits by the monster. Rhoda Penmark, the Bad Seed. The sociopath gets struck by lightning and spanked. Auric Goldfinger. This Bond villain learned a very important lesson about cabin pressure. Bob Ewell, To Kill a Mockingbird. After attacking Atticus Finch's children in the woods, a bigot gets his due.
Bob Ewell's lying on the ground under that tree down yonder with a kitchen knife stuck up under his ribs. He's dead.
Count Dracula. Dracula. The undead Transylvanian count gets a stake through his heart.
Mina!
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1. Gregory Anton. Gaslight.
He opened it.
The villain from the story that gave us the term gaslighting, Anton is a thief, conman, and murderer, attempting to manipulate his wife into insanity.
Do you know anything about anything you do?
His aim is to take control of her estate and recover some priceless jewels. Once discovered, his wife, Paula, gives him a taste of his own medicine.
If I ever meant anything to you, and I believe I did, then help me, Paula.
Ingrid Bergman won an Oscar for her role, and this scene is a big reason why. Anton, tied to a chair, becomes her prey as she taunts him with a knife. Is she insane, or is he?
Because I am mad, I hate you.
It is sweet, sweet retribution for the cruelty he's visited on her throughout the movie. Did your favourite classic movie villain make an appearance? Sound off in the comments.
Give me another chance. It's your fault as much as mine.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo. And be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.